Microphone's not yet yours, Chief, if you want to say anything. Oh, yes.
Right.
Very, very good call, City Manager. Chief.
Thank you. It's actually a really great honor to be able to stand here and talk about Frank. When I started here 20 years ago, Frank immediately was one of my mentors, as I think he was here at least 20 years before me. So, seriously though, aside from being a superior engine company captain, Frank transcends, I guess, just the fire department. All those of you that work in the city all know Frank. He's always there to lend a hand. He works with the Every 15 Minutes program. Like the mayor said, he coordinates our Santa truck program, which wouldn't happen without him. He also, a few years ago, founded our Random Acts of Kindness committee and currently chairs it. And this committee gives 100% of the money they raise back to Turlock. They fund scholarships, families in need, schools, clubs. And I think as of today, they're over $100,000 in giving back to the community. And that wasn't enough. He started the Pink Shirt campaign that we currently do in October, where firefighters don pink t-shirts to help out with breast cancer awareness. And to date, they've raised and donated over $85,000 to the Emmanuel Cancer Center. So Frank just keeps giving and shows no signs of slowing down. So it's really, really an honor to be able to recognize him up here today.
Thank you for those kind words, Gary. I appreciate that. First of all, thank you very much. I'd like to thank our community for, a great organization that they support our firefighters every day on an annual basis. We couldn't do it without our community support and stuff. And thank you for our management council that gives us the opportunity to do the things that we do in our community to serve. But personally, I'd like to thank my family and, of course, my fans in the corner where you're at. They came out and kind of cheered me on, so I personally like to thank them, my wife and our two kids that they came out here tonight, and my new son-in-law, Joey, right there. He's sitting right there. So anyway, we, first of all, we couldn't do the things we do without our community. We have a great city, citizens, families that live in our community that constantly are supporting us wherever we go, and we couldn't do it without them. I think that's what keeps us going, and why we do the things we do. Without our community, we just couldn't do it. So, first of all, and also I'd like to thank God for giving me the opportunity to do the things, to give me the strength and the wisdom and the support every day. I can't do it without him. So anyway, I want to thank your community and all their family and friends. Thank you very much.
All right. As the 34th Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for the City of Turlock to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts. And whereas the City of Turlock plays a vital role in assisting the Turlock Police Department through joint crime, drug, and violence prevention efforts in the City of Turlock and is supporting National Night Out 2017 locally. And whereas it is essential that all citizens of the City of Turlock be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in the City of Turlock. And whereas police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out program. Now, therefore, I, Gary Soyseth, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Turlock, and on behalf of the entire City Council and all our citizens, do hereby call upon all citizens of the City of Turlock to join the City of Turlock and the National Association of Town Watch in supporting the 34th Annual National Night Out on August 1st, 2017. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, for making this as important of an event as it is to the police department. This year's National Night Out Committee was comprised of Turlock Police, Turlock Fire, and Parks and Recs. Their efforts, along with the generosity of this community, has going to make this event probably one of the largest events that we've had in years past. It gives us an opportunity to go out and spend some quality time with the community We're excited as an organization. I think I can speak for the rest of the organizations. Hopefully, we'll see you all out there August 1st. Thank you.
All right. Perfect. And real quick, if I haven't made that announcement yet, Councilmember Jacob is joining us by teleconference. Councilman Jacob, can you hear us?
I can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, his location is stated on the front of the agenda. I will not state it because everyone will be jealous. All right, moving on. Special briefings, we have none. Staff updates. Pet of the month. You're not Glenna. Come on up.
She said she was nervous. I said, I'll stand up here with you.
Yeah, that works.
Yes.
Your bodyguard. I like it.
Chief Amafar.
Yeah.
You want me to do the clicker? or
Yeah,
not
can you do the clicker?
Sure.
That would be wonderful.
How do I
Hi.
do it now?
Can I pick another representative to help me? Hi, council members, mayor, thank you for having me. My name is Carrie Rhodes. I'm the animal control officer for City of Turlock. I'm filling in for Glenna Jackson, who's usually doing the pet of the month. So bear with me. Pet of the month, it's out of order?
No, it's not. You just read
Just read that? Okay. Pet of the month. Adoption fees are sponsored by TMAPS. The adoptions include spay, neuter, microchip, first vaccines, rabies vaccines, licensed for the City of Turlock residents. Everybody loves Pet of the Month. They're in there all the time to see which animals have been chosen. They are extremely excited that have someone who is wanting to pay the fees for the adoptions to get the animals out of there. So they get very excited to see which animal's ready to go, even if they're not there to choose that particular animal. So it's a great program that's ongoing. This was our last Pet of the
Nice.
Month for July. Super excited family. They decided to keep her name, or his name, excuse me. I apologize, I don't remember what his name is, but they did decide to keep it. His name is July? Okay, July, which
Okay.
I'm assuming is different, but he's very happy with his new family.
Good.
So this
wow.
Pet of the Month is Husky. He's a cinnamon husky. His name is Zeus. He's approximately 4 years old. He is great with other female dogs, loves people, kids. He's needing a new home. That is his face all the time. Please take me. So if anybody's looking for a cinnamon husky, that would be him. So he's our Pet
I
of the
think
Month.
the mayor's looking for another.
Oh man, she said female dogs. I have a male dog, so no.
Yes.
How's he with cats?
We haven't really had him around the cat so much because we've only had a couple of kittens available, and it tends to frighten the kittens. But we do have some more cats available now to where we can take him in there if we just kind of want to see what he does with it. But he's pretty mellow. Usually it's other male dogs due to the fact that he's an intact male, so they tend to not like each other so much.
Got it.
So he's pretty much a happy dog other than that. This month we are supporting the Summer Tan Special. So these are for our little Chihuahuas. Sometimes we have some larger dogs, but definitely tan, brown. It's constant. They're running everywhere. They're in the shelter. Definitely need a home. And their adoption fees are $40 this month, and that will include the spay and neuter, rabies, first vaccines, microchip, and a license for all City of Turlock residents. So that is our new promotion right now that we're doing. We've done it in the past in the summertime, and it's worked out pretty well. So we're excited to have that back. The Turlock Animal Shelter is located at 801 South Walnut. We are open Monday through Saturday from 10 to 2. Phone number 656-3140. We do have City of Turlock website and also our Facebook page, which is under Turlock Animal Services.
Nice. Thank you so much. Give a round of applause. So we saw Zeus's face.
Yes.
In an effort to be even more transparent, how are we selecting our Pet of the Month? Because I see why you picked this one, but how is that? You guys just going through and picking good animals that you think would make good,
Yes.
good home in Turlock?
You know,
All right.
we go through and we ask who wants to be Pet of the Month, and
All right, you ask
whoever
'em.
raises a little paw,
Yeah,
they
got
get
it.
to be chosen.
I like it. I like it. This is good. A smart aleck, I see. All right. So let's clap as it's our
Glenna
first
Jackson
and
is
last
my
presentation.
supervisor,
No,
has been my supervisor for a while, so.
kidding, I'm kidding. I love it, Carrie. Perfect. Are there any other questions or comments? Who has dibs on Zeus from the audience? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Just a quick question. Do you throw in the shades on that adoption, the Chihuahuas?
You know, I could probably find a pair and definitely throw that in for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Gary. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, don't
Yes.
take my wife's phone number.
Yeah, one Zeus. Got it. Perfect. All right, again, thank you so much. You did a great job. Give a round of applause for all our. All right. Chief Anafar, public safety briefing. She did great.
She did real well. Honorable Mayor, council members, thank you. This is our monthly report for June, our staff update. I had to put up on the screen too, I had some comments from citizens. Even though we do have copies of this back there for you folks, it's easier to follow a little bit on the, oh, I don't know how to use this, on the screen. Mayor and council members, you'll notice I did change it a little bit. I added some graphs in there for you. It really reflects a lot of the things that we're doing. As you'll note, the top 3 calls continue to stay around the same. We have suspicious persons for 2017 coming in at 1,024. It's an 18% increase over last year's suspicious incident numbers. Burglary types, and I'm going just to move down. And if you have a specific question on something, please let me know. Moving to the burglary types, we have the auto burglary coming in number 1 for year to date. However, for 2017, you'll see it's still sitting at number 1. Residential burglary is next, then commercial burglary. If you look at the percentages for year to date, you will see decreases in all except the commercial burglary and burglary others. And as I stated, way back when we had the dentist, rash of dentist burglaries in that group that was going through, that number is going to stay with us and will follow us through under the percentages. Looking at your graphs, looking at the burglary types, it was interesting to put it in a graph perspective. As you'll see, 2017 versus 2016, we are seeing declines, and that is showing in our Part 1 crimes, which you will see on the next page as we progress through this. Arrests for June 2016, we had 2,077. June 2017, we have 2,268. Now, arrests are inclusive of any type of detention, including infractions is considered a technical arrest. However, we only measure the misdemeanor and felony arrests, just so you're aware of that. We've had a 9% increase in that activity. Looking at response times, 2017 priority 1 response times, we show a 1 second above 2016. However, the number of calls versus 2016 for 2017 is a 20% increase, which correlates to a 2% response time increase. Moving further down, you'll see our primary traffic collision factors. We included of their safety, and we will do it. In District 4, we have disturbance, verbal, along with suspicious persons. With that, I have the Part 1 crimes, as you can see on the bottom, and the correlations there with our decrease in larceny, vehicle theft, increase in aggravated assault by 22%, roughly 29 reports additional this year versus last year. And we're seeing that increase tick up. If you want to ask me what my opinion is on it, I can tell you that law enforcement across the nation and even the state and the bigger cities are seeing an increase in larceny and so forth. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing the actual decrease. But the assaults associated with the theft of a property or argument over it has gone up. So I think there's a correlation there between those two. Robbery, we did have an increase in the robberies. You'll note in our most recent publication, we have made several arrests in regards to those individuals. And then you'll see the rape has increased. And once again, those numbers, while I can't give you specifics, I can tell you that the individuals are known to each other in almost 90% of this. So that gives a little perspective. Top Part 1 crimes 2017 is larceny. Even though it's a decrease, it's still the top one. And then I gave you the graph on the next page just to give you a look at what we're doing versus 2016. In 2016, we were able to lower our numbers, and at this rate, we're continuing to lower our crime rates. Special deployments, our tip line, for this year, we've had 6 tips. 2 of them have been resolved, 4 are still pending through investigation. 50 tips so far year to date that we followed up on. Cat Country was a huge event. I think we all are aware over 12,000 people were there, and so was ABC under a grant with the Sheriff's Department, and several individual underage drinking was dealt with. However, the outer perimeter was handled and was safe to the community. And again, I want to thank Sergeant Shaw, who's left, but him and his team, along with the 2 traffic officers, did an outstanding job. And without our volunteers, it would have been almost impossible for us to handle that load out there. Proactive efforts. Animal Services has visited 72 individual residents for proactive license enforcements. We've sheltered 2 animal shelters in Idaho through rescues. So I think that's a big deal. Our Animal Services goes way above and beyond what I've seen from other areas, and the amount of service they provide to the city of Turlock and their residents goes without saying. We've utilized our traffic safety unit to place electronic boards. Councilmember DeHart, your names are switched.
We're stealth today.
I looked up and I was like, okay. But we're using our message boards. We'll continue to use our traffic decoy methods and so forth to try to gain more and more compliance from our motorists. Crime prevention efforts continue with our Crime Prevention Academy. Detectives provided training for our volunteer academy. And we move on to our social media. And this is the big efforts that we're pushing out for our social media. Our Facebook, we're at 9,600 likes. We're trying to break 10,000, and I have an idea how we're going to do that tonight. Twitter, we're at 5,300 followers. We continue to increase. Next door, we've increased 170 new members in the past 30 days. That's quite a bit. And it's through our efforts of continuing to provide the information of what this department is doing at the direction of the mayor and council. Transparency is extremely important in providing this information. So with that, for the members here and for our members or our community members at home, I ask you to like Facebook Turlock PD page and follow us on Twitter, because beginning within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we will be placing our daily watch logs, the public version, available as a link, and you'll be able to get to that directly from our Facebook and Twitter postings. So they'll go out with the watch log of the day.
Fire that was threatening Mariposa and the surrounding areas there. Happy to report that they have just returned home as of last night after an 18-day deployment. Currently at that fire, which is still active, we do have one single resource, an engineer serving as a fire line EMT, and he may be deployed for as long as 23 days. Providing medical attention to the firefighters on the front lines. We'd like to thank the mayor and the interim city manager. Last Friday, we were able to tour the base camp for the Detweiler fire. They actually went up and helped to switch out crews. Crews typically work a 14-day rotation, and they were able to tour the base camp and visit with the crews before the switch out. Training highlights for the month are listed on page 10. I'd like to point out the burn container project at the drill grounds is progressing, and it's in the final components of installation with the interior staircase and railing work. Pending these final few inspections, we will be able to work on cutting the doors and windows, and it should be operational very soon. In prevention, page 11, our prevention team, which is Fire Marshal Gomez, has been busy with 12 pre-development meetings, 7 final inspections, 8 occupancy inspections, and 4 special request inspections. And I'd like to point out that he worked both days, Saturday and Sunday, this weekend on one particular project, the Vista Apartments, so that they could meet their August 1st deadline of being able to move students toward that. So definitely appreciate him putting in that extra time there. In neighborhood services, through this period, they've completed 510 various inspections. They've taken a total of 2,160 pounds of debris and trash to scavenger. And particularly July 14th, and during one day, they removed graffiti from 32 separate locations in the downtown area alone. And there's some graphs on page 13 that'll also highlight that. Lastly, our social media. We continue to reach more and more people, and I'd like to leave it on a high note and just point out one particular thing that I didn't know about till I saw on social media, that last month our firefighters responded to a call of a homeowner that was injured while mowing his lawn, and the injuries required him going to the hospital. So once they responded and took care of the individual. He was transported. They stayed behind and finished mowing his lawn and continued to landscape his property, and then gave a tour to his kids and the neighborhood kids of the fire station. So originally I thought it was going to be Frank again that did that. Turned out he was on vacation, but it was his crew. But it just points out that how the firefighters feel that the community is their family, and if they reach out to individuals in the district and just want to become part more and more of the community. And I just wanted to recognize them for their above and beyond efforts and continue to impress. With that, open it up to any questions or anything you'd like to see in the future as the police chief has commented.
Any questions or comments from the council? No. Thank you. Great report.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. City Manager, you have any harsh comments for him on this presentation?
No, Mayor, did a fantastic job, and just to echo what he said about our firefighters, they're outstanding.
Perfect. I like it. Thank you so much. Glad they're home safe. Yeah, right. Moving on, drinking water regulations. Director Cook, you're going to give us an update on that. Oh, I apologize. Yeah, we'll go with you first. Yeah, I'm sorry. Director Pitcock, I skipped over you, but we'll have Director Cook. You have a couple more minutes just to hang out. Sorry.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I want to give you a quick update on a new drinking water regulation that the State Water Resources Control Board passed last July 18th regarding 1,2,3 trichloropropane, which is also known as TCP. So I'll use TCP here going forward. So what is TCP? It's an industrial solvent that's been found as an impurity in soil fumigants. It's very persistent in groundwater and lives a lot longer than the pesticide or soil fumigant ever did. In 2013, California Environmental Protection Agency designated TCP as a human carcinogen. You see that quote from, I think it's a Sacramento Bee article. So the TCP that we find today in groundwater is the result of past use of soil fumigants that contain TCP as an unnecessary ingredient. Basically, Shell and Dow, rather than disposing of TCP properly when they had excess industrial solvent, they would cut it in with other pesticide products just as a way to get rid of it rather than paying a proper disposal. And so we're seeing TCP in the groundwater, and farmers didn't know they were putting this on their land. They complied with all applications for their soil fumigants that killed nematodes, but basically now we have this persistent pollutant in the groundwater. And as it says there, basically they're passing the cost of disposal on to farmers, and now basically that cost is being passed on to city residents. So it's mainly a San Joaquin Valley problem. And this is hard to see, but that red dot shows wells in the San Joaquin Valley, or basically in California, that have TCP. Most of them are in the San Joaquin Valley, mainly because we grew grapes here, sweet potatoes, and melons, things that required a soil fumigant. So it's mainly a San Joaquin Valley problem, unfortunately. The new state standard is 5,000ths of a part per per billion. So it's 5 parts per trillion. Sorry, that's micrograms per liter. I had to convert it. So 5 parts per trillion. So if you had 1 trillion tennis balls, if 5 of them were contaminated, that's considered too much. So it's a pretty low level of TCP that's considered carcinogenic. And again, state regulations for contaminants like this are based on long-term exposure. So if you drink 2 liters a day, which is half a gallon, every day for 70 years, you increase your risk of cancer by 1 in a million, which means basically less than 1 person in 100,000 would potentially develop cancer from exposure of half a gallon a day for 70 years. So the risk is very, very small, but at the end of the day, those are the standards the state and federal government use, and that affects us. So this rule goes into effect January 1st, and early indications show about 30% of our wells have levels of TCP in them, some higher than others. So that's how this rule will affect us. So what we have to do, so starting January 1st of next year, we start a round of quarterly monitoring. We do a running annual average. So by the end of 2018, we see where our wells are and whether any are over the limit. But basically, if you find it, you're already over the limit. This is one of those weird regulations that if it's detected, it's already considered over the limit. So it's If you find it, you're in trouble. So that leads to things like public notification. We have to let people know what's in their drinking water. We will have to install wellhead treatment. And wellhead treatment looks like that, tanks like that. They're filled with granular activated carbon, we call it GAC, that will clean the water. We estimated, just quick back of the envelope estimate, the capital cost for our 30% of our wells was about $3 to $5 million. And then you add to that annual operations and maintenance costs, which will be significant too, because you have to periodically change out the carbon, dispose of it, bring more carbon in, so it's a disposable commodity. And then with that comes chlorination of our system. Anytime you install wellhead treatment, you have to chlorinate. So right now we don't chlorinate, we have no wellhead treatment, but with the new TCP regulation, we feel like that's in our future. So some of the other issues we're dealing with, obviously we've been working with our various representative groups to work with the state on a reasonable implementation of this regulation. We were looking for a 2-year implementation timeline, feeling that that's the time you need to engineer, go out to bid, put these things in. We thought 2 years was realistic. The state said, no, we'll give you 6 months, which is, again, proposes some challenges for us. So we may have to deploy wellhead treatment very rapidly, which means maybe declaring an emergency so we can go around our normal bidding processes to hurry up and get that wellhead treatment installed. And what we will do is monitor options for litigation and cost recovery. There are lawsuits right now in California against Shell and Dow to see if there's a way to recover some of the costs from them through litigation to implement wellhead treatment. So bigger picture is increasing regulatory requirements always seem to hit groundwater the most. So we've had issues with arsenic. Luckily, the new rule on hexavalent chromium didn't affect us, but it affected the city of Patterson. TCP is the newest regulation. So longer term, realistically, surface water is a better option. It's a better source of supply. It's easier to treat because you have centralized treatment rather than dispersed treatment in every wellhead. It's much more cost effective, but it is a more expensive source of supply, at least initially, is with the additional capital costs. So sorry to bring on bad news. We've had such a positive meeting so far, but again, this regulation passed last Tuesday, and I thought I'd put it in front of you as quickly as possible and let you know we're aware of it, we're working on it, and we'll make sure we comply. But it will mean significant workload and requests from the City Council to get this done. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any other questions for, yes, Dr. Cook?
Thanks, Michael. Quick question. You cited $3 to $5 million wellhead treatment. Is that system-wide or per well?
No, that's system-wide. So it's probably about $500,000 per well, and probably 5 to 6 to 7 wells. So again, depending on the size of the systems, that's what we think. Total capital investment.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Director Cook, we should not let you give updates like this. No, I appreciate it. I think that also coming up August 3rd, obviously the Stanislaus Regional Water Authority is going to be meeting and discussing basically where we're going as far as a community of City of Turlock and series with surface water. And it's TCP now, but there's just so many other variables can be thrown at us for when you're solely on groundwater. So diversifying our portfolio is of crucial importance. So we appreciate you bringing this to our attention.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move back. I apologize. Director Pitcock, Measure L Planning. This is an item that I asked to be added to. I skipped over. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. Good evening again, Mayor and Council. I just want to let the Council know where we are on the 3 first-year projects. We actually are working on all 3 at this point in time. On the West Main project, which is Lander to Walnut, we are adding additional detail to the plans regarding the curbs, gutter, sidewalk striping, and signal loop that to be replaced. We're also adding some conduit installation for the future signal at West Avenue and West Main. And we're setting up the utility sheets to be plan and profile. When we put it out to bid originally, we just showed the plan views, which is like you're looking at it from above. So now we're going to show the profile, which actually will help the contractors understand depth, understand potential conflicts and so forth. It aids in their ability to give us a more refined bid. On the Golden State Olive to Dells project, engineering staff's been working with municipal service staff. They've been out looking at the existing utilities, trying to identify what needs to be updated. They're finding very little in that area needs to be updated. They are continuing to look at a couple more manholes, but once they have that completed and they provide that to us, we'll put the scope of work together, and we're going to get those to our 3 engineering firms that we have under contract so that they can get started on design. One of them gets started on design. And then on East Avenue, Golden State to the east city limit line, that one is where as soon as municipal service is done with the review of the utilities on the Golden State project, they're going to move to East Avenue. And once East Avenue has been reviewed, we'll put together a scope of work and get it out to the 3 contract engineering firms for design. We're still moving forward to put out the West Main project bid in the timeframe that we've talked about, which was November, and try to get it out in October within November, either a November award or December award, so that we can get this thing in construction first thing in the spring. So we're valiantly trying to hit all those targets and marks, and we want to get the others out to bid as closely or as soon as possible. But once you start sending stuff out, you do lose a little bit of control over timing, but we'll still continue to work with our outside resources to push them to get it done quickly. Any questions I can answer for you?
Yes, Councilmember Bublak.
What, in the constituent from Circle J?
Yes.
Have you been able to speak to them? Because they weren't able to come this evening, and
I have not, but I've just right before the workshop tonight, I was actually working with my staff on the action plan to provide access to that. We've got it actually defined. It's on my desk right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to reach out to Sandy, and
Perfect.
we'll get that to her so she understands what we're going to be doing for her.
Thank you.
For those in the audience, what Councilmember Bublak's referencing is the construction at Folkerth and Golden State, which is not a Measure L project,
That's
but
correct.
it is a project where we've approved. Just we're working with the local business to make sure that access is ensured for the
So we're doing
business.
that for the Circle J and the other proximity that are in that same center. And then we're also with the Hawkeye Shopping Center, we're also putting together a plan to serve that center as well. So we want to maintain these businesses operational.
Yeah, absolutely. On the East Avenue project, what coordination has been done with the county? Because I know that East Avenue's been on their list for updating, and there's sections that are county pockets.
Yeah, I've had conversations with Matt Machado, their director, and he said, yeah, we can get together and put together a game plan to maybe them shipping some Measure L funds our way to cover the cost, so we can do it in one continuous swoop.
Right.
So we haven't got that defined yet, but it's the base discussions have occurred.
Yeah, absolutely. And so again, for the audience, for the thousands that are watching us on TV, when we go through Measure L projects, we are coordinating with our local utilities. We're looking through municipal services. Basically, it's not just Mike's shop looking at asphalt. It's looking at all the other complexities that go along with roads and trying to do it in one fell swoop, so we're not coming back and cutting up these new roads. And that we're also, when we have county pockets, we're doing the whole stretch. So the county's pitching in for their stretch, so our citizens are not seeing a checkerboard of improvements.
Ultimately, we want East Avenue to look consistent all the way through.
Right, absolutely. Perfect. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the update.
All right.
All right. Moving on. The Vistas, Miss Whitmore. Sorry, Allison. We're all out of whack today. Hey, Debbie.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Soiseth, members of the council. The mayor asked me to give you an update. I'm sure you all saw the article in Saturday's Turlock Journal about the Vistas project. There was both a positive one, and then there was one about an investigation that is currently underway. I just wanted to kind of give you a quick update on where we are in that investigation. I spoke with both David Moon with Coleraine Capital Group and Mr. Stephen Clark, who is with AmCal. They are the partners that are building this facility on Friday to discuss the issue. What they indicated to me is that they will be going through every one of the roughly 468 leases that they have entered into on that property to ensure that they are in compliance with the requirements of their permit. I think you all remember back in 2016, this project came to you for approval, and we did place a restriction on that property that it would be for students and faculty only. When I spoke with Mr. Moon and with Mr. Clark, they were both very disappointed about what they had learned. They were surprised on Friday that their leasing agents were in fact taking applications from non-students. And so far what they have found is that 8 of those leases are in fact to non-students or non-faculty members, and so they will be developing a strategy for addressing that issue and coming into compliance with their permit. They have since spoken to their leasing agents to make it very clear. Again, I spoke with Mr. Moon just this afternoon. He was very disappointed again that they meet every Friday afternoon with their leasing agents to make sure that they understand what the requirements are and to get an update on their leasing practices. And we're very concerned that, that this had been an issue the morning of that Friday. They did express today their sincere regret that this is happening. This is not something that they wanted to have happen. Mistakes always do happen. But they had made a promise to this community, and they are very committed to making sure that this project stays a student-only housing project. They are renting by the room, as you know. It is dormitory-style housing. It's being marketed that way on their website. We are working with them. There are a couple of sort of commercial apartment websites that have the project on their websites, and they don't really market them as individual bedroom selling, so they are working with those apartment websites to make sure that it does reflect that this is being leased only by the room and that it is in fact restricted to student housing. Both gentlemen are scheduled to meet with the city leadership here this week on Friday to discuss their findings and to let us know what their corrective action will be. What was described to me today in the phone call with them is that they are trying to figure out how to unwind those leases and make sure that those rooms are not rented to non-students. Probably on a more positive note, and I'm going to kind of end on a more positive note, they currently have 70% of the bedrooms leased. That's a very good rate. Even our Sierra Oaks apartment complex was not quite at that level of success at this point in the project. Stephen Clark expressed a great deal of satisfaction with achieving this leasing rate, in spite of the fact that they're not able to actually show students the rooms. As you know, they do not have all their final inspections completed. They are still working on that. So they're pretty excited actually that students are renting the rooms sight unseen, basically. I mean, they can see kind of the renderings of what the rooms will look like. They can see some of the pictures that are now starting to come to light, but they can't actually go into the rooms and see what the living conditions would be. He told me today he was very satisfied with the rate of leasing that they currently have, and that they hope to attract more students at kind of the midterm to fill the remaining rooms. He said, frankly, if we don't rent another room, we consider this a big success for us, and we're very happy with the level of performance that we've had. Over the weekend, the city fire marshal, Mark Gomez, worked with them to obtain fire department sign-off on buildings 1 and 2. I wanted to highlight this because Mr. Gomez was working on his off hours, and he's actually on vacation this week, but he's committed to come back and basically look at their building 3 to see if they are prepared to sign off on that building. So I just wanted to offer that notice of commendation to Mr. Gomez for his extra efforts in trying to bring this project forward and to complete it on time with regard to the developer's desires. I want to say that Mr. Clark also expressed his appreciation to Mr. Gomez for coming out and displaying that extra effort for his project. The clubhouse is moving along as well and is projected to be ready for final inspection within the next week or so. They still need a sign off by the state on elevators, continue to work on site improvements and on the emergency illumination within the building for the building division. So there are a number of things that they still have yet to complete, but they are hoping to move in furniture in buildings 1 and 2 that have been signed off by the fire marshal this week, and then once approved into building number 3. August 10th is their goal for initial occupancy by about 30 athletes and international students. They hope to have all of the remaining students move in well before the school year starts. The chief building official has told me, Eric's going to be up here in a few minutes, that he thought it was very possible for them to be ready in accordance with that schedule. So with that, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Very thorough. Any questions or comments on this? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Just clarification, what are the start dates again?
The
You
start
got
date-
students moving in when?
Well, they would like to, they're anticipating 30 of the students moving in on August 10th, and then they would like to get all of the remaining students into the facility before the school year starts.
And that date approximately?
I think it's at the end of August, yeah.
Thanks.
August 19th, yeah.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much for that report.
Okay, very good.
Appreciate it. All right, Allison Van Gilder, come on up. 1,000 flags. We just
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to provide you and the community with a quick update on the city's 1,000 flag program. As of today, we are about 108 days away from Veterans Day, and we are at the 597 mark. We have seen great interest from the community in terms of flying Old Glory and registering their individuals' flags on our website. However, we aren't quite there yet, a little over halfway, and so we are hoping that we can encourage those who might be intending to hang their flag, or maybe they've hung their flag and they just haven't gotten around to registering it. You don't have to go online to do that. You can call our office. We'd be happy to assist with registering that for you. We would love to get pictures emailed to us of your flags flying. But I'm want to encourage people that we still haven't met our goal, and we hope that to do so by Veterans Day, of course. As you know, we've designated several different corridors in town as our flag corridors. Canal Drive being one of them. Unfortunately, we have had some negative activity in that area where for whatever reason, people felt necessary to take the flags, and so they've been replaced, and hopefully the steps that we've taken will secure them better. But we're hoping that will motivate people to recognize that there might be people in the community that are being a little challenging, but we're going to continue to get those flags out there and continue to fly them. Main Street continues to fly Old Glory. The next corridor that you'll see flying flags soon will be along Countryside, and that will be in conjunction with the active military banner program that will be presented to you in September. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the program.
Any questions or comments? Yes, please.
So, I'm sure you've already done it, but have you reached out to the individual branches of recruitment and asked them the people that are coming in to participate as well?
We have active relationships with all of our military groups in town. We've dialogued with them on the program, and so they're aware of it. We have not coordinated any kind of focused effort to have them sort of go out and really plug the program, but I think that's a great suggestion that we can explore. We're looking for any help that we can get, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I asked Allison for this update partly because I was notified that some of our flags were stolen, and as many of you guys know, this challenge started because of a Marine veteran had his flag taken and actually burned. And so, with these efforts, there's going to be some setbacks, and I just wanted to make sure that it was made aware that our community is about the 597 odd flags that have been flown, and we're not going to let a few people that decide to steal an American flag, which is kind of boggles my mind a little bit, be the ones that set the tone for this program. And so I'll be reposting because I've registered mine, and I think everyone here at the dais has registered all their flags, even if they don't live in Turlock necessarily, but hopefully they've all registered their flags. And I was looking at someone down there. Anyhow, I hope that they register their flags, and I hope to inspire about 100 more. So hopefully we can surge ahead, and maybe next council meeting, all of our council members, we can show our pictures and show that we've registered and hung our flags and make sure they're properly lit and everything. So next
Fantastic.
council meeting, that's the homework assignment.
Okay.
You hear that, Councilmember Jacob?
Yep, I have mine up.
There it is, buddy. I like it. Perfect. I like it. Thank you so much, Allison. All right. Really quick, there was a comment about some of these staff updates. So we use this time set aside for the staff to give us updates on certain projects. We don't have to take any action on it, so therefore that's how we're allowed to do that. Moving on to public participation, this is time set aside from the public to address the council on any item that they would like. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the council? All right, closing public participation. Moving on, motion waiving reading of all ordinances on the agenda except by title.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor DeHart, seconded by Councilmember Scare. Clerk, please call the roll.
Waiving reading of all ordinances on the agenda. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisa.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Declaration of conflicts of interest and disqualifications, looking left and right, and hearing none. Disclosure of top 10 maximum contributors, that's found within the agenda. And consent calendar, we have item 5F is requested by Vice Mayor DeHart to be removed for separate consideration. Are there any other items to be removed? Yes, Councilmember Scare.
Yes, I'd like to pull 5D.
D, all right. Perfect, so the consent calendar, less items D and F, what is the pleasure of the council?
Move to advance consent.
All right, do I have a second? All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor DeHart, second by Councilmember Scare. Clerk, please call the roll.
Adopting the amended consent calendar. Councilmember Esquer.
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart.
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak.
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob.
Yes.
Mayor Soisa.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. We will take them in reverse alphabetical order and go with item F, awarding request for proposal number 17-404 and approving an agreement with the Roadrunner Drilling and Pump Company for well rehabilitation services of wells 28, 31, and 38, not to exceed $265,429. Vice Mayor, what is your reasoning? Would you like to comment, or you can pitch it to Michael?
Yes, sir.
Cook?
Yes.
Not that you have to have a reason.
Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, no, I do have a reason, and I think it's not uncommon for several of the members here on the dais to call attention to items that exceed 100,000. Our thresholds are somewhat different given times, but in this particular case, it's kind of hit two sensitive marks for me personally. It's in excess of 100,000. It's nearly $250,000. It's also nearly a significant percentage of our deficit budgeting, or even our normal budgeting that we're zero growth budget. But number two, it's water. And with the visibility, as you just explained a little bit earlier, Mr. Cook, I'd really like to have us call attention to this, understand more completely what's going on, and then treat it separately. Thank you.
Okay, good. So hopefully I'm bringing some good news with this project, and just to deal with the budget issues first, when the council adopted water rate increases about 3 years ago, one of the items we set aside was well rehabilitation projects. So we budgeted money for that, and it's in your current fiscal year budget. But let me explain what we're doing here and why we're doing it. So a number of wells, have been taken offline the past few years due to increasing levels of contaminants. The proposed well rehab projects are intended to reduce the arsenic concentration. One is on North Walnut at the junior high school, and 38 is on Mountain View and Christopherson across the street from Pittman High School. 28 and 38 have been offline since 2011, and well 31's been offline since 2015. So this work is possible because of the hydrogeologic study the council invested in a couple of years ago. If you remember, about a year ago, Larry Ernst from Wood Rogers was here, explaining the analysis they did of our aquifers in Turlock. And what we learned from that is there's actually 6 aquifers underlying Turlock, 5 of which we draw drinking water from. And he determined that if we modify where we pump from the various strata, we could bring in more water that meets the standards unless it exceeds standards. So we did a kind of pilot rehabilitation project on well 32 on Berkeley and Alex this year, and we brought it back online. So we got the level of nitrates down to acceptable level. We think there's 3 more that are good candidates for that type of work. Again, it's $265,000. It's not cheap. However, the cost of constructing a well is well north of $1 million. So for $80,000 per well, we could possibly bring these back online. So it's a huge cost savings to us and our consumers. So hopefully with the council's approval, we can get the contractor online fairly soon. I don't think these wells will be ready by the summer peak, hopefully later in the fall. And then, as you remember, on Berkeley, we've developed some signage, some big signs we put at the well sites, because we'll be making a little bit of a mess. There'll be some flushing. People ask, say, we're working on well rehabilitation, improving water supply, improving water quality, get that message out, and know that's what we're working on. So hopefully that gives you an overview of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and also the financial implications, and the fact that you did include it in your current budget. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Initially, in follow-up, Michael, I just real quick question. In view of the information you presented earlier this evening, do we have any potential exposure to TCP?
Yes, but until we haven't pumped those wells for a while, and while those wells were operational, we didn't need to test for TCP. Testing for TCP started in about 2013, so I don't know what the risk is at 28 and 38. So those predate that era. So we will find out once we pump them. I'm hoping not, but again, we'll find out.
Thank you.
Any additional comments or questions? All right. What is the pleasure of the council on this item?
I'll advance, Mayor.
All right. Do we have a second? All right. We have a motion by Vice Mayor DeHart, seconded by Councilmember Scare. Clerk, please read back and call the roll.
Awarding request for proposal, RFP number 17404, and approving an agreement with Roadrunner Drilling and Pump Company, Inc. for well rehabilitation services of wells 28, 31, and 38 in a total amount not to exceed $265,429 from Fund 420-52-550-43320 Special Services Projects. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to item D. Go for it. Or Councilmember Scary, you want to call?
Yes, I just, this is just for me, because I'm still getting used to all the verbiage on some of these, and reaffirming the declaration, I just was confused. Pedretti is completed, correct?
It is completed.
Okay, so I just didn't understand what the reaffirming the declaration was all about.
Under abundance of, well, there's a couple different things here. When we build our agendas, we build them a month out, and we weren't 100% sure we'd be done, so we build it in there just in case it's not done. But also out of an abundance of caution, the way the state law reads is once you've made that declaration, you need to back the reaffirmation at each meeting until such time it's been completed, and we haven't brought a notice of completion to you yet. So until then, it's, you know, we put it on the agenda. Does it need to be there? Maybe not, but it's better safe than sorry.
You good? I have a quick question revolving around the project. There's a chain link fence that was removed, I believe, right between Pedretti, right outside where we installed these nets. Is that us or is that Caltrans? That work?
It's on the freeway side?
Yeah. So it must be.
I think that we did some work on some fencing that was damaged during an automobile. I think it was part of this contract. They did some work, but I don't know if they completed that work.
No problem.
Is it currently
Yeah,
still?
it's currently down from a stretch from about New Life Christian Center
In
all
all
the way down.
likelihood, it's
So
probably Caltrans,
no
so
problem.
we can look
If you
into
want
it.
to track that down, just an email update is sufficient for me.
Okay.
All right. Any additional questions or comments on this? All right. What's the pleasure of the council?
Move to advance.
All right.
Second?
We have a motion by Councilmember Scare, seconded by Vice Mayor DeHart. Clerk.
Reaffirming the declaration of emergency made by the city manager and declaring there is a need to continue with the replacement of safety netting at Pedretti Park. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisek.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Moving on, no final readings, public hearings, a request to confirm diagrams, assessments, the engineer's report, and the levy and collection of assessments for fiscal year 2017-18, landscaping and lighting assessment districts, and all street maintenance benefit assessment areas in the city of Turlock. Director Pitcock.
Thank you. The item before you is the confirmation of diagrams, assessments, and engineer's report, and the levy and collection of assessments for all landscape and lighting districts, as well as street maintenance benefit assessment districts here in the city of Turlock. The Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972 and the Benefit Assessment Act of 1982 allowed for the formation of these districts. The purpose of the assessment district and the benefit assessment district is to ensure that development pays for its own maintenance and operation costs associated with street lights, public landscaping, street sweeping, and future slurry seals. Since the enactment of the two acts, the city of Turlock has formed 192 districts, and they bring in revenue in the amount of about $2.7 million annually. This is the third and final action by the council, and it is a public hearing. At the conclusion of the hearing, council shall consider the resolution to confirm the diagrams and assessments. You have to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Any questions or comments for Director Pitcock? Any questions or comments from the audience?
It's a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and formally open it.
All right. Publicly, yeah, absolutely. All right. Anything else? All right. All right. What's that, city attorney? We're good? Okay, perfect. All right, sorry, I got a lot of body language looking at me. All right, perfect. Bringing it back. You can tell when they're staring at you, and it's like you're trying to figure out what they're trying to say. Bringing it back. Additional questions, comments? All right. Clerk, please call the roll. Can I get a motion, please?
How about I advance 7A?
Can we please? Sorry. Can we get a motion?
I advance.
All right. Do I have a second?
I will second.
All right. There we go. We have a motion by Vice Mayor DeHart, second by Councilmember Scare. Clerk, please read back the resolution.
Thank you, Mayor. Confirming diagrams, assessments, the
Never more
engineer's
confused.
report, and the levying and collection of assessments as originally proposed for fiscal year 2017-18 for all landscaping and lighting assessment districts and all street maintenance benefit assessment areas in the city of Turlock pursuant to resolution number 97128. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yeah.
Mayor Soisa.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. I realized where I got screwed up here. All right, moving on. Request to add Turlock Municipal Code Title 8, Chapter 12 regarding expedite permitting procedures for electric vehicle charging stations and adopt checklists. Eric Pachano.
Yeah, good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. What I'm going to talk about today is an ordinance regarding the expedited permitting of electrical vehicle charging stations. I'm going to use the term EV for electric vehicles at this point forward. This has all been mandated by the state of California through a passage of an assembly bill in 2015. The intent of the bill was to promote and encourage the installation of EV charging stations. Per the mandate, this ordinance then creates an expedited permitting process for the EV charging stations. Part of the bill required that there is a separation between populations of communities greater than 200,000 and less than 200,000. Population communities or public agencies that have a population greater than 200,000, they had to have this particular ordinance in place as of September 30th of 2016. City of Turlock being at less than 200,000, we need to have it in place by September 30th of 2017. Now, as required in the ordinance, we have to create this permitting process. It's a special permitting process. And because it's a special, this mandates that EV customers are going to be prioritized over our regular building department customers. Also mandated, the building department had to develop a checklist for the requirements for these EV systems, so they comply with this process. What we will be reviewing in the checklist would be the rating system and the capacity of the electric system for individuals, location of the vehicle supply equipment, ventilation if it's required, clearances for the charging equipment, and any vehicle clearances required. It's a concern of a lot of it is gas as well as electricity because some batteries do produce gases. Currently, we have most of the procedures in place. One of the required procedures is the electronic submittal of documents as a process that we've been working on for several years, and we already have that in place, and we're undergoing a slow transition into obtaining more and more plans submitted electronically. Fiscally, the only good news about this, there is really no impact. And then finally, with consistent to state law, the building department is going to ensure the successful implementation of the expedited process for the electric vehicle process or charging stations. At this point, I'm open to questions.
Any questions or comments for Eric? Yes.
Thanks, Eric. Do you know of any situations or circumstances where we're going to be cutting roads to accommodate stations?
This has nothing to do with the roads. This has to do on private property.
Private property.
Yeah, this is all about private property. This is a building department type question, so we don't do any work in the road. So this has to do if you purchase an electric vehicle and you wanted an actual charging station in your garage. Maybe a Nissan Leaf or a Tesla or something like that, where people actually use a specific charging station to charge their electric vehicle.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Audience, anyone? All right, what's the pleasure of the council?
Advance 7B, Mayor.
Just the ordinance. All right, do I have a second? Oh, yes, Councilman Jacob?
Yeah.
Oh, did you have any comments?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay, sorry. Councilmember Bublak is hearing things. So Vice Mayor DeHart advances. Do I have a second? Now you have to second it.
What?
You have to now because you falsely accused Councilman Jacob of wanting to comment. All right, she has a second. So we have a motion by Councilmember or Vice Mayor DeHart, second by Councilmember Bublak, just for the ordinance. Clerk.
Introducing an ordinance adding Turlock Municipal Code Title 8, Chapter 12 regarding expedited permitting procedures for electric vehicle charging stations and setting the final reading for August 8, 2017. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yes.
Mayor Soisa.
Yes, motion carries 5-0, and we will be considering the resolution on the August 8th City Council meeting following approval of the ordinance. All right, scheduled matter, request to accept the Sports and Recreation Facilities Prioritization and Feasibility Study from the Sports Management Group. Mr. Schultz. That was a rough public hearing for me, guys. I don't know what happened. I apologize.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. At the March 28th, 2017 City Council meeting, consultants from the Sports Management Group presented the Sports Recreation Facilities Prioritization Feasibility Study Final Report. Based on this presentation, the City Council requested that staff prepare a Phase 1 and Phase 2 approach for the top 3 community priorities identified in the council approval. The staff went back and looked at this. The Phase 1 recommendation is to prioritize projects on a cost to benefit ratio. Using this approach, the city will be able to identify projects that benefit the community and can be completed within our current budget structure by partnering with community organizations to improve and expand current amenities. I put together a list of some of the projects that we currently have that would fall under this Phase 1, just so we'd have an idea. I know when we had this overall presentation, it focused on 2 projects really that were really large projects, and that didn't really encompass everything that happened in this report. This report outlined the wants and desires of the community on about 18 different things. So I want to highlight some of those things that we are working on that we can do within our budget structure. I'm going to start off with the interconnected pathways, and this is work that is provided through Mr. Pitcock's department. They've done a great job. Did the ATP Cycle 2, they're looking at doing about 3.25 miles of bike lanes on Christopherson Parkway and around that area. Second project they have, they'll install 2 Class 2 bike lanes of about 1,300 feet along Linwood between West Avenue South and Lander, along with new sidewalks and a pedestrian hybrid beacon. The third project will install sidewalks in missing gaps in neighborhoods around Wakefield and Cunningham schools. The size of this project is an estimated $1.8 million and funded largely through federal grants, so great job to Mike and his crew for capturing those. And one of the other projects that we have in the works, the Parks, Arts, and Recreation Commission are working on a fitness campaign, and through that campaign, it's looking at developing and putting together a fitness track at one of our parks that would include about 30 different apparatus. Each apparatus would have 4 different exercises you could do on that, and that'd be a great addition to our interconnected pathways and things for our community. When we look down at the aquatics, I know the presentation talked about a new aquatic center that would be in the millions of dollars, but currently in our budget, we're working at Columbia Park and Columbia Pool. We have a major rehabilitation project that we're going to be starting with replastering and ADA compliance. And then we also want to talk about our partnerships that we have where we also have other pool uses. CSU Stanislaus Pool just opened up this year, and they made available 3 swim sessions a day for the community. And then we also have a joint use facility agreement with both high schools to use their aquatics facilities. When we talk about the use of those aquatic facilities, we're talking about swim lessons, water polo, recreation swim for thousands of youth each summer. And they're also open to community groups like the Sea Dogs and other swim clubs for them to perform. And then, although I'm going to focus solely on the senior center when we talk about community centers, I think we need to make it clear that it is a senior center. They run a lot of great programs out of there, but they're not the only people who use it. Starting last year and moving forward in the next 2 years, we've done considerable amount of interior and exterior renovations in that facility to bring it up to a higher standard. And along with that, we'll be continuing to do that, new HVACs. We'll also look at new curtains in there. They have the big accordion curtains that are falling apart. So we have a lot of work going on there. And like I said, that's really a community facility that we run community programs in through the city, and we also rent that out to community members, not alone just being a senior center. And then we kind of talked about the two big projects that we focused on, but along with that, there were the other projects in there that a lot of the community were interested in, and they might not have been the top two, but one of the categories was over 50% of the respondents indicate they would be strongly or mildly in favor of multi-purpose fields, that was a 66%, and lighted fields, which is 64. Those are pretty high, and it kind of got glossed over last time, but we're in the process of doing a study for lighting 2 fields at the sports complex. By doing that, that would allow us to open our leagues that we run 3 times a year for softball to more teams, probably up to 20 more teams with the added light and the added fields. It also makes the city a much more attractive place when it comes to venues for softball tournaments, as they'd be able to get in more games throughout the day and also have the lit fields. So that would be a big one. And then Pedretti Park, we are getting ready to start the lighting project out there. That's going to be a $489,000 project where we're going to bring brand new lights into the facility, so all the sports lights will be replaced, and that'll bring the facility up. And those are important, not only that the community thought they were in the 60 percentile, but we also know how important those facilities are to our community for bringing in people from out of town, staying in town, spending money. And then 2 of the things that also weren't on there, but I think it's worth mentioning, are playground equipment. We're upgrading a lot of playground equipment. The Swanson Centennial Park will finally get its first playground, along with a covered arbor this year. And then in the next couple of years, we'll replace playground equipment at Rotary and Summer Fair Park. And those are some of the phase 1 things that we currently have going on. And these are things that we can do as a city when we set our budgets every year, to take a look at what is in this study and what the community had asked for, and then find ways to fit that into our budget and look at what they wanted, whether it's expanding pathways or adding more amenities to our park. And then we'll look back again at the phase 2. And this is really a follow-up to the larger facilities that the presenters printed from the consultants. Much larger facilities are a higher cost and a higher liability for the city with the added maintenance cost that is ongoing. But they're also very important to our community, as we see with our sports complexes right now and their ability to draw people to our city. And when we're looking at those facilities, I think it's important that we look at the model that we use for the Turlock Regional Sports Complex. And we make them true regional projects so that they impact and they affect the whole region. And we get support from the school district, CSU of Stanislaus, the county, public-private partnerships. Make sure that we include the users groups to participate in those programs and to get those facilities built. And just to reflect back once again, the document has a lot of things in it. Last time we focused on 2 major projects. But as we look at phase 1 and phase 2, if we go through those, I think over the next several years, we can really accomplish a lot in the phase 1 as we're trying to prepare for the phase 2. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for Eric on this? All right, well, I'll kick it off. I really appreciate you guys going back through this and working hard. I know I sat down and talked with you with some of my concerns last time. I think that you're right, within the study was buried this information, but I think that you guys highlighted it, and that this is the priority of the city of Turlock and its residents. We like being outdoors, but we don't need a multi-million-dollar facility to achieve our recreational needs. We have lighted fields, or we have the pathways, or just safe spaces and places to go. So I appreciate you guys going back through this and scrubbing it and bringing this back forward for adoption, and I really appreciate all your hard work, Eric.
Thank you.
Anyone from the audience like to comment on this? All right, bringing it back. What is the any additional comments or questions, or what's the pleasure of the council? Yes, Vice Mayor.
This is not to attempt to do anything with what the mayor's already offered, but I think that he's absolutely right. You know, we've got now a workable set or list of priorities that we can now function with that are not extreme expense involved. So I would concur with the mayor's comments on that.
Introduce the resolution.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bublak, second by Vice Mayor DeHart. Clerk, please call the roll.
Accepting the sports and recreation facilities prioritization and feasibility study from the Sports Management Group. Councilmember Esquer?
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart?
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob?
Yes.
Mayor Soisek?
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thanks so much, Eric.
Thank you, Mayor and
It-
Council.
It was a home run or a touchdown or whatever you want to call it. All right, thank you. Cool. All right, moving on to item 8B, a request to award bid and approve an agreement for construction of city project number 15-39C, Turlock Regional Water Quality Control Facility, secondary clarifier number 5, and denatrification, and approve an agreement for construction management services for city project number 15-39D, Turlock Regional Water Quality Control Facility, secondary clarifier number 5, and denatrification, and approve an agreement with for materials testing services for city project number 15-39E, Turlock Regional Water Quality Control Facility, secondary clarifier number 5, and denatrification, and appropriate funds. Director Pitcock.
Thank you. Time to spend some money, unfortunately.
Yeah.
The city owns and maintains the Turlock Regional Water Control Facility located at 701 South Walnut Road. It is a regional facility. Not only does it serve the Turlock citizens, it also serves the neighboring community service districts of Denair and Keys. It also treats the primary treated wastewater from the city of Ceres. The permit capacity of the facility is 20 million gallons per day and is comprised of primary, secondary, and tertiary treatment. Treatments before it actually is recycled. Much of it is recycled for industrial cooling and irrigation. The remainder goes to the San Joaquin River for discharge. In 2014, the city completed a master plan for the facility to account for the anticipated growth for the general plan, or as per the general plan. The project before you will provide new facilities consistent with that master plan. Additionally, denitrification in this is required as part. Let me go back one step. I'm sorry, I bypassed something. So it is in accordance to the master plan, and it will meet the requirements of the treated effluent, which would allow us to continue operation or running the wastewater or the recycled water into the San Joaquin River. And additionally, we're going to denitrify, which is required to discharge in the Delta Mendota. City Council gave approval to advertise the project for construction in February 28th. On May 31st, 6 bids were received for the construction project. The CW Rowan Construction Company of Danville, California was the lowest responsible bidder with a base bid of $18,068,000. There were 2 alternates that were considered on the bid form. Bid alternate A would add insurance coverage in the amount of 50% of the lump sum of the price of the project against the risk of tidal waves and earthquakes in excess of 3.5 on the Richter scale, as provided in section 7105 of the Public Contract Code. Bid alternate B would deduct from the bid amount the savings achieved by allowing the contractor to stockpile screened and segregated soils excavated from the project elsewhere on the facility. After reviewing the bids and add alternate, staff is recommending that the city award the construction project to CW Rowan, but reject both bid alternates. Corollo Engineers was awarded the agreement for design of the project on December 8th, 2015. That contract was up through the bid process, but did not consider or include project management services. Council approved the advertisement of the RFP for construction management services on May 16th. One proposal was received, and that was from Corollo Engineers. The scope of services included continuous on-site inspection, leading construction progress meetings, reviewing construction schedules and pay requests, scheduling of material testing and special inspections, maintaining detailed project reports, reviewing change orders, coordinating the coordination of design clarifications and changes, and monitoring of compliance with the applicable permits. City staff does recommend the City Council award the agreement for construction management services to Corollo Engineers in the amount of $1.2 million, or $1,243,676. And lastly, the project scope requires various material testing services to assure that the material and practices of construction are consistent with the project plans and specifications. These services include soils testing, concrete compressive strength testing, reinforced bar inspection, field welding inspections, as well as bolt inspections for our structural steel members. Kleinfelder Incorporated is the firm that we prefer to use. We've used them for 20 years. They do outstanding work, and the city recommends that the City Council approve an agreement with them in the amount of $85,000 to provide material testing service. So before you are 3 motions: the award of bids to the three contracts, as well as one resolution appropriating and transferring funds to make the payments for that. At this time, I can happy to answer any questions you may have, as well as Michael Cook here for more detailed information.
Any questions or comments for Director Cook or Director Pitcock? Any questions or comments from the audience on this? All right, bringing it back. What is the pleasure of the council on this item?
Introduce 3 motions and a resolution.
You don't want to make it 4 or 5 motions, just 3?
No, just 3.
All right, perfect. We have a motion, all right. We have a motion by Councilmember Bublak for the 3 motions of resolution. We have a second by Vice Mayor DeHart. Clerk, please read back and call the roll.
Awarding bid and approving an agreement in the amount of $18,068,000, Fund 413, with C.W. Rowan Construction of Danville, California, for construction of City Project Number 1539C, Turlock Regional Water Quality Control Facility, Secondary Clarifier Number 5, and denitrification. Approving an agreement with Carollo Engineers of Walnut Creek, California, in the amount of $1,243,676, Fund 413, for construction management services for City Project Number 1539D, Turlock Regional Water Quality Control Facility, Secondary Clarifier Number 5, and denitrification. Approving an agreement with Kleinfelder, Inc. of Modesto, California, in the amount of $85,000, Fund 413, for materials testing services for City Project Number 1539E, Turlock Regional Water Quality Control Facility, Secondary Clarifier Number 5, and denitrification. Appropriating $2,020,676 as outlined in the resolution to provide for the proper accounting for expenditures associated with City Project Number 1539C, Turlock Regional Water Quality Control Facility, Secondary Clarifier Number 5, and denitrification, and approving the transfer of $5,100,000 from Fund 410, Division 530, WQC Operations to complete the funding for this project. Councilmember Esquer?
Yes.
Councilmember DeHart?
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob?
Yes.
Mayor Soisek?
Yes, motion carries. Motions and resolution carried 5-0. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your hard work on this. And to the public, those are multi-million-dollar resolutions, or motions and resolutions, but we've been working with staff on these for a long time, and we have the utmost faith in all of you to execute these properly. So thank you so much for your hard work. Moving on, request to approve a memorandum of understanding with Stanislaus Business Alliance for Economic Development and Workforce Strategies. Mary.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Morning.
Whatever.
With the Alliance that they are launching. One of the things that we've heard through our Economic Development Strategic Plan was a lack with a lot of our base sector employers was specific job classifications like maintenance mechanic and some of the others that requires skills but not necessarily like a college education, and that there was a lacking of in terms of how a clear path for people to reach those certifications. So this is a big deal to our local employers like Blue Diamond, Foster Farms, Superb Farms, Cozy Shack, Sunnyside, we could keep naming them, but all those who require that level of skill in terms of maintenance mechanic, it's a big deal. So with that, I'm going to introduce Dave White, with the CEO of Opportunity Stanislaus.
Thank you, Marin, and Honorable Mayor and City Council members. It's great to be here tonight with you. And what Marin said is so true. In fact, this is a survey that I just did today with one of your Turlock companies. And the survey is pretty comprehensive, but we do hundreds of these surveys each year with local employers. And let me just share, I won't share the name because it's confidential, but one of the questions we ask, is the company experiencing recruitment problems with any employee position or skills? Yes or no? Yes, emphatic. If yes, what problems, positions, or skills? Maintenance, mechanics, general labor, people who want to stand on their feet all day. So this is a local manufacturer, and this story is told over and over again. In fact, I want to just share with you, our unemployment rate has never been so low, as far as we can track, going back, looking at unemployment rates over the years. In fact, it's the lowest it's been, and we're actually projecting that the unemployment will get down possibly below 6% this year in August and September. And you would think, well, there's lots of people out there who can work and who want these kind of jobs, but the challenge is the people who are out there, there are various reasons why they don't have jobs. And I could go on at length about that, but the challenge that we have right now, more than anything, is a lack of skills. And that's what companies are facing. Also, we just learned there was a state report that our county, Stanislaus County, was actually in the upper quartile in terms of percentage of job growth in the first quarter of this year. We outperformed, percentage-wise, we outperformed San Francisco, Silicon Valley, Los Angeles. We were in the upper quartile. So that gives us an idea, that gives you an idea that our economy is doing very well. And you've seen that in Turlock. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir about that. You've actually led our county in job growth and percentage-wise. So the question is, what do we do about it? And so I've been led by our industry leaders to create a new program called VOLT, which stands for Valley Occupational Learning Technical Institute. We call it VOLT for short, and you'll see in the you see right up there in the logo that it's about mechanical and it's about electrical, it's about manufacturing jobs. And so what I want to show you is actually our classes are starting 1st of September, September 5th to be precise. But what VOLT is, it's a nimble, industry-led training program, 19 weeks to a career. It's outside of the construct of the community college system, but in partnership with the community college, in partnership with the Stanislaus County Office of Education. Housed in the Modesto B building, that building was offered to us because SCO purchased it, and the industrial side of that building wasn't used in any practical use. It's perfect for what we're intending to do. But this project is being led by industry partners such as E&J Gallo Company, Foster Farms, Blue Diamond, Sconza Candy, Seneca, Del Monte, Stanislaus Food Products. What's happening is companies are cannibalizing each other for talent. Whoever can pay the most, that's where the employees go. And we need to do a better job in increasing our skilled workforce. So our whole mantra is 17 weeks to a career. This is very complementary to adult education programs. The purpose of VOLT is to take unskilled, semi-skilled workers, to vet them carefully, to turn them into vetted, carefully selected candidates for these type of well-paying jobs. Just to give you an example, a maintenance mechanic job can start at $70,000 a year in our county, with overtime easily get into 6 figures. And so that's a job that I think most people would want, and is a job that we seriously lack, or skills that we seriously lack in our local communities. So we want to reach out to underserved populations, those 7% unemployment. And just to give you an example of the model, this is based on National Association of Manufacturing model. The first phase of our training is what we call Career Accelerator, our Career Accelerator program. We're going to teach people how to work, how to be part of a team. We're going to teach them Six Sigma. We're going to teach them lean principles, project management. This 5-week program is a precursor to the specific skills training. So they start with the career readiness skills, the soft skills as some people call them. They graduate from that, and then they move on to specific industry training. We've already purchased all the equipment we need for the mechanical program. We've hired the trainers. Our first classes will begin. The CAP, the career readiness, will begin on September 5th. Our industry training, the mechanical program, will begin end of October. And we'll have 2 classes, each 25 people each. And we're going to start with incumbent workers, and companies will identify people from their staff who have the capability to be trained as a maintenance mechanic, and then they will be paid for through Employment Training Panel dollars, a state program. We'll do pre-screening. This is going to be like a job. As candidates come, they're going to have to sign a contract. They're going to have to adhere to that. They're going to be pre-screened. They'll have to take an assessment, work keys assessment. They'll have to qualify there, and they'll have to speak English, have a high school diploma, GED equivalent. They'll have to go through a drug test. It's going to be just like a job. And if they don't perform, then they could be dismissed from the program. The whole idea is to vet really strong candidates for companies. If they don't qualify, if there's some challenge, then because we're in the same building as SCO has all sorts of remedial programs available there, including their Comeback Kids program. And so we can just send them down the hall and have them go to SCO or other partners where they can get that extra math class they need, or they can sharpen up their English skills, and then come back when they're ready to come through our program. The way it's set up is the board is a board of industry leaders that will be directing and guiding this program. SCO will provide day-to-day administrative support. The trainers will be employees of Opportunity Stanislaus. And then we will have direct access and involvement with SCO and other potential partners down the road. So this is just a timeline. Our training begins in actually September 5th is career readiness. And then we'll begin the first industry model in October. We're going to add an electrical program, and we're going to add what we call mechatronics, which is all about robotics and automation and really where companies are going in the future. We also have started some Volt workshops. This is our core team. These are people that are working hours each week to make this a reality. And then this is just a list, a partial list. We've added people. In fact, we just added somebody from Cozy Shack today from Turlock. But this is our steering committee. They meet every other week, and they provide advice and consent to make sure we're on target. Now, you might ask, why is industry doing this? Why can't we work through the community college system? And this is not meant to be critical of them, but the community college system is not as nimble as they perhaps need to be in order to keep up with the pace of technology. So these type of training centers are popping up all over the country, industry-led, because technology is moving at such a fast pace. We have patterned ourselves after other centers around the state and around the country. In fact, the Water Center up in Everett, Washington was started by Boeing and Boeing suppliers. Same kind of concept. It's an industry-led training center that will provide the skills locally. Intech is one that we've also patterned ourselves closely after in Fontana, which was started by California Steel, which was done by Kaiser. So we're very excited about this program, and this will have a major impact on our county. It will help employees and people who want to enter into a career in manufacturing get the requisite skills they need. I would like to also add that right now, the major site selection criteria that companies look at when they decide where they're going to locate a new plant is workforce. That they need to be in a place where they can find the workers they need. And so we want a county that not only takes care of our local companies, which is really important, but also will be an attraction to other manufacturers who want to come and other companies who want to come and be part of our county in the future. And so I'm very delighted to be here. I know that this is a long time coming. We've been spending a lot of time at this, and you can expect your companies to see some results from Volt. And I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments? Yes, Councilmember Black.
So I appreciate this. This is really important to our area. Stanislaus County needs this. There's a lot of people out there who aren't looking to go to college, and they can make money in other ways, and this is perfect. This is a great opportunity. It helps our whole county and obviously our city, so thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Any additional questions or comments from the council or the audience? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Dave, once again, thank you very much. This is, as Councilmember Bublak has offered, this is critically important work that needs to be done here in our county. Our city will benefit immensely from it. Knowing prospective employers that are considering coming here, knowing that there's programs like this taking place, to have workers prepared to fill those jobs is critical. Thank you very much.
I might add our county to the north, San Joaquin County, in their marketing to try to attract new companies, they're already using Volt in their marketing materials because they know how critical it is. So it definitely will help us attract new employers.
Don't you compare us to San Joaquin County around here. All right, any other questions or comments from the audience or the council? Dave, you're doing great work. Thank you so much. What is the pleasure of the council on this item?
Introduce a motion.
There it is.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Bublak, second by Vice Mayor DeHart. Clerk, please call the roll.
Approving a memorandum of understanding, MOU, with Stanislaus Business Alliance, Opportunity Stanislaus, for economic development and workforce strategies for fiscal years 2017, 2018, and 2018, 2019. Councilmember Esquer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dehart,
Yes.
Councilmember Bublak,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacob,
Yeah.
Mayor Soisa.
Yes, motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much. Matters to late for the agenda, non-agenda items. Looking at interim city manager and city attorney, seeing none. Council items for future consideration.
Yes.
Left and right. Yes, Councilmember Bublak.
So, we heard how our fire marshal, worked over the weekend, and I totally appreciate that, but I think that we need to start looking at the opportunity of someone else being trained, because that skill set, if, God forbid, he retired, or he is sick, or we allow him to take vacation, we're having a situation where so many businesses are being held up. And so I really think we need to look at having another person trained to be able to sign off on certain things. They don't even have to be a fire person, as I understand it. You just have to take a test. But I think it's important because we want to be responsive to our community.
Absolutely. So if we can, if the interim city manager can work with Councilmember Bublak and myself on creating an item and perhaps bringing back some of the instances we can maybe track in the last 6 months or so, where perhaps when he's been on vacation or absent, where we've needed to have him come in or missed opportunities, we can look at that and bring it back August 8th and look at our options. Any other items? All right, moving council comments. Any council comments? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I actually have two that are of increasing importance to members of our community and certainly our staff and this council. I've received numerous comments, as you've seen in social media. It's been referred to earlier this evening. Acting Chief Carlson, thank you for the note on the fireworks. But there seems to be a real challenge, a real opportunity, dare I say, to come up with some sort of zero tolerance policy for the illegal fireworks that are not just a safety hazard. They take our wonderful pets that are pets of the month and distribute them throughout the community, our own personal family members in that category. So whether it's a safety issue, whether it's our pets, regardless, I haven't even gotten to fire safety and whether or not we've got backyard fires, roof fires. There's areas of town with still shake roofs. And if we get these fireworks without any restraint at all on into the future, I think we're asking for more trouble. So I think I'd like for us to pursue, Mayor, between now and certainly the next season at a minimum, to see if there isn't some sort of zero tolerance policy that we can develop to that regard.
Absolutely, and on that, I think moving that up to council items for future consideration, I think we need to take our time to look at that, but we need to have something very stringent. I'm in agreement.
Yeah, there's just enough, it's an elevated level of concern in the community. I think we really need to begin to have that formalized. Secondly, we've had a wonderful, wonderful briefing about Vista this evening. And the fact that it's successful, and we've got students that are moving in within the next couple of weeks, and a couple of weeks after that starting classes, and I'm very, very concerned. I'd like to see if there isn't something we could do with respect to two intersections specifically, Kroll and Dells along Monte Vista. In some iterations around town, we have much wider, more easily identifiable walking crosswalks, great big striped lines that are up to 12 feet long or appear to be, maybe even bigger, certainly wider. And at those two particular intersections, where they were the standard 6 or 7 foot wide, easily not seen, and we've got a liability there. We've had, as we're all aware, fatalities along Monte Vista. I think we're asking for trouble unless we actually elevate and expedite something. I think in addition to crosswalk designations, I think we have the latitude, and these are low-cost, no-cost options to adjust our timing. I mean, I see these great big wide crosswalks and one or two or three people walking across them. And I look at those little crosswalks and I know we're gonna have tens, dozens of folks crossing at any given time during the day. So I think it's critical that we take an immediate look at that. Mayor, I mentioned that I didn't know if I'd want to call a special session, but I think we've got a time-critical element here to specifically address. And I really do believe that even within the constructs and the confines and the limitations of our current budget, there's got to be a way that we can make this happen for the students, for our community, for our own liability as a city. So.
Good comments. I'm in agreement. Any other comments from the council? Just one quick one. Hopefully everyone will be there. The Stand Behind the Line event, which we're very excited about. This will be happening on the Joe Gallison Parkway, just across from Turlock High School, along Canal, where we have a blue, gold, and red painted line that we approved a while ago in honor of the dedication of our Police, Fire, and Communications Center. It'll be at 9 a.m. and we're gonna have some comments and a ribbon cutting, and there's a great plaque explaining exactly what the parkway or that stretch of the parkway is about. And again, it's just one small symbol of our commitment to our police and fire and dispatchers. I think it's neat because the three lines together show a unity of effort to keep our community safe, and I think it's a really neat stretch, and hopefully we'll brainstorm some other ways to honor them and their sacrifice and service throughout the community later on. So hopefully I'll see you guys there this Friday at 9 a.m. At the Stand Behind the Line event. Closed session. City Attorney, what do we have up?
Thank you, Mayor. The council is going to adjourn to consider 12A, B, and C on the agenda. All of the relevant information is set forth on the agenda itself.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Vice Mayor Dehart, second by Councilmember Bublak. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Open session. Thank you so much, Councilman Jacob. Open session is adjourned.
Councilmember Jacob, are you still there?
I am. Are you going to call?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll disconnect with you now, and then I'll call you from the small conference room.
Perfect.
Thank you.